You know, we have to stop looking at life through the lens of belief. Because when you look at it through a holistic lens, we believe that things are going to get better, but they never do. Let's just take a look at something else holistically. We believed once we were freed from slavery that our condition and our lot in America would improve just for the fact that we were no longer physically bound to the Europeans. So let's take a look at that and fast forward. Has our condition as a people improved from the end of slavery up until now? Let me go on and answer that question for you. No. No, it hasn't. At the end of slavery, African people in America earned less than 1/13 of 1% of the wealth in America at the end of slavery, at the time of emancipation. Let's fast forward to 2020. In actuality, we own less than 1/13 of 1% of this nation's wealth as an African or black or African American people in America today. So, what does that tell you? It doesn't matter whether or not we were under slavery or whether or not we are so-called emancipated or freed all the way into today's society, we are still economically and socially in the exact same place as we were while we were enslaved. But nobody understands that. Nobody understands that when we were Aboriginal to this country, what do I mean when I say that? You have to understand, over 75 to 80% of the so-called African Americans that were enslaved were already here in America pre the transatlantic slave trade. Why do I say that? Let's take a holistic look at the transatlantic slave trade and the technology of that slave trade that was available to, en masse, go to, first of all, get to Africa, have the goods or the barterable goods to barter with the so-called Africans who captured these other Africans as a result of war, not only to get them and purchase them from these Africans, the Europeans I'm talking about, have the supplies, the food, the water, and the resources and the staff to, en masse, hold these hundreds and hundreds of people in these ships, have facilities for these people, not only to hold them in bondage, but to care for them, not, physically, with food and medical care to get them to America. And you have to understand one thing. There was no such this was pre-industrial revolution. There were no steamships or no steam engines or gasoline or diesel engines at that time. They merely had the intercontinental currents that existed and wind power. So what does that mean? The quickest that a ship could come from West Africa to the Americas, whether it be South or Central or North America, was at least 3 months. So you mean to tell me that these people were able to bring hundreds of captured people in the holds of these wooden ships, and be able to take with them enough water to sustain these hundreds of people, enough food to sustain these people, and not only that, the staff to keep these people subdued and fed and watered and sanitized. It doesn't make sense. The transatlantic slave trade, as they portray it to us, does not make it does not make practical sense. It does not make technological sense.
You know what's funny about what you're saying? I had just listened to the Martin Luther King speech, The Other America.
Yes. He's
very
very telling in that.
Maybe a night ago.
He's very telling in that. And I know the part that you're referencing. He says, before the pilgrims came to this land, we were here. Before the drafters of that great document, the Declaration of Independence, we were here. What was he saying? He was speaking to the truth of what I just alluded to previously. Between 75 to 80% of the so-called Africans that were enslaved in the Americas were here prior to the arrival of the Europeans. That's what he was talking about. But that's a whole nother lecture in and of itself.